So today we're actually going to make, this is a sort of Mexican Latin dish, Carnitas, which is a very slow cooked, usually pork, sometimes beef. You can do it with chicken, and like Chrissy said, we've done a vegetarian one too. So with the beef, we went with a brisket cut. The brisket cut near the flat end. So if you want a leaner cut of the brisket, you want to ask the butcher for the flat end. That's near the side where there's just a little bit of fat cap on top, which you can even get them to remove, and you remove most of it for me here. But the rest of it is pretty lean. So with lean cuts, especially tough meats, shoulder meats, they take a little bit longer to cook. So slow and low, you know, if you have the time. Slow cooker, absolutely. This is the perfect recipe for slow cooker. So I'm giving you two options on there. You can do slow cooker. If you don't have a slow cooker, you can do it in a pot as well. So we have our cut of brisket. We're going to season it up. And again, we're thinking about that sort of the Mexican flavors and the Latin flavors. So we're going to use 4 herbs, dry herbs and spices here. Cumin, love cumin, big on the flavor, about a tablespoon. We have some smoked paprika. Again, lots of nice smoky flavor. It's not spicy, it's not hot, so it's great if you don't like spicy food, but you want sort of that big flavor, that smoky flavor. Really, really good. So a tablespoon of that. We have some dried oregano. This was right off the stem, so if it's right off the stem, you might have to just break it up a little bit. Again, really nice. That's going to give us that sort of herbaceousness, those sort of grassy, not grassy, but we'll stick with herbaceousness. Sometimes when I make up words, I have to back it up, but we'll go with it. Okay.
It's a culinary term. And
then one of my favorite, not often used in savory, is cocoa powder. So this is just regular, unsweetened, Dutch processed cocoa powder. You probably have it in the pantry. You know, you save it for the chocolate cake. Put it in your savory stews and dishes. It gives you this incredible, rich, earthy flavor. Because there's no sugar in there, it's not like it's a sweet dish. Just think of like really dark chocolate, and you get those bitter notes and those earthy notes. And again, often used in a lot of Mexican cuisine.
And the neat thing is, so Jeremy had the vegetarian version kind of bubbling away on the stove, and when I came in this morning, I gave it a sniff, and I thought it was the meat one because of the cocoa. So it just had such a rich kind of aroma to it.
Absolutely.
It really does make a big difference in upping the flavor.
So we just want to give it generous seasoning on each side. I didn't add any salt to this yet, but you can definitely make a little bit extra. This stores really well. These are all dry ingredients, so you can put it either with salt, without salt, and that'll keep in your dry pantry for, you know, a few months, easy. And it's not like it goes bad. It's just the aromas start to dissipate, they start to go away a little bit, so it becomes a little weaker. So that's it. So we're going to dress it now. If I had the time while I'm preparing the rest of the ingredients, put this in the fridge, let it marinate. You know, the longer it sort of sits there, it's going to get even better. We're going to speed things up. So I have a pan here. I'm using a sort of a thick lip pan. If you have a pot, even better. Or, like I said, a slow cooker. So I'm going to do it in the pan. I just want to sear it on both sides, get a little bit of color. So I'm putting, this is a light olive oil, and it's about a medium heat. So light olive oil tends to have a little bit of a higher smoking point. You know, I don't like to say, you know, use your cheap stuff, but that's kind of the general rule of thumb. If it's a cheaper olive oil, it's a little more processed, a little more refined, so it can take a little bit of the higher heat. The expensive stuff, don't cook with.
Save that for your salad dressing.
Save the salad dressing.
If you want to get some of the vitamin E, there's going to be a bit of omega-3 fatty acids in there that are very, very sensitive to heat.
So put it in.
So that's a light olive oil.
Yeah, light olive oil. So you can hear the sizzle. If I'm, like, typically when you cook meat, they say, you know, you want that high sizzle, really high heat. Because I have this dry rub on the outside, if it's too high, it's going to burn really, really fast. And then it's going to become really bitter and just not taste really good. So it's sort of a medium high heat, light sizzle, and that's perfect. Just a little bit of color per side. We're not cooking the meat. We just want to get some color, sort of toast up those spices. I can start to smell the oregano, the smoked paprika a little bit. Beautiful. So now, for the rest of our ingredients, You can put whatever. I've got some onion. I've got a few different types of peppers, some mushrooms. These are portobello mushrooms, but you can use cremini mushrooms, even just white button mushrooms. So I'm done with all my veg. I can either transfer all of this into a slow cooker or all into the pot and cook it that way. So it's up to you, and I'll give you the times in a second. So here's the brisket. Can you guys see the color on the outside? Maybe I'll lift it a little bit. So it's got a really nice caramelized color, really nice golden brown. It's not burnt on the outside, especially because, like I said, those dry spices are on there. You don't want to cook it too much. That's perfect. That's it. About a minute, 2 minutes per side. And now I'm going to start adding all my ingredients. So I have a couple cups chopped tomato, 2 to 3 cups, depending on how big the pot is, but you don't need too much liquid. I have these are some black beans, about 1.5 cups.
This is a great way to slowly introduce yourself to beans if they're not the main part of your
Absolutely.
meal. Throw them into some Latin or Mexican recipes, and they're absolutely delicious. And what's the main thing that you're getting from beans? What's the first nutrient you think of? Protein, absolutely. You're getting some good vegetarian protein. Fiber, yes. So the more, beans and more vegetarian-based meals you can get into your diet is associated with a lower risk of several types of cancer. And again, more filling, nutrient-filled foods that can help you to get to and keep a healthy body weight.
Okay, so everything is going in now. Yeah, it's packed.
Again,
but it's okay.
we have our beautiful colors.
I definitely don't have a lid that's big enough for that, so I'm just going to use some good old
Does that work?
oil paper right on top. Now, like I said, this can go into the oven, 325, so on pretty low temperature, and that's going to cook for about 3.5 to 4 hours. Okay, if it needs a little bit more time, like the meat should pull apart, just be patient. Some ovens are different, doesn't always work. With any tough cut, especially brisket, there's that panic point where you think it's had enough time, it's 4 hours, you check it, and it's like a rock. It doesn't mean that it's ruined. You just, if you need a little bit more liquid, add a little more liquid, and just let it go a little longer.
It needs to break down.
It needs to break down,
right?
and it does not take long. It literally is like maybe another 20 minutes, 15 minutes, and all of a sudden it just melts. So don't panic. Just give it a little more time. Be patient. Now, if I was putting it in the slow cooker on a low setting, that'll be about 8 hours, 9 hours. On a high setting, it's the same as a 325 in the oven. So about 3.5 to 4 hours. That's a lot of times. Those are a lot of numbers. Most of them are on there. But again, you can always ask me after, or you can even email us if you have any other questions.
All of our contact info is on the front page of your recipes. If you want to email, tweet, give us a call, any of that, or talk to us after class. We'd be happy to chat with you.
Okay, so now I'm going to show you real quickly because I know we're running out of time.
So Jeremy has a brilliant idea of turning your carnitas into tamales. Do people know what tamales are? Have you had those before? In the corn husk, and there's usually like a corn mash on the inside,
Yeah,
so they're very, very starchy.
Yeah, classic tamales use what's called masa, which is a ground cornmeal. It's almost like the Italians use polenta. This is sort of a Mexican version. So it's a ground dried corn. It's usually not your regular corn. It's usually a larger corn, and it's ground into a meal that's cooked. And it's very starchy, like Christy said, and it's almost like your rice or your sort of starch that would soak up all of those sauces, all that meat. So that's fantastic. They're delicious. They are time consuming. They take a long time to process, a long time to make. That's why most people just sell it made already, and you can buy it like that at like Latin stores. The corn husk as well. You can buy at Latin stores. It's a dried corn husk. That's where you stuff everything in. I went to about 3 or 4 stores. I gave up because I couldn't find it. I know some in the area that have it, but if it's going to take me 2 or 3 stores, yeah, I'm not going to ask it to you. So we came up with a little trick that's going to be just as good, if not easier. You don't eat the corn husk anyway, so we're going to use parchment paper.
You're not losing out on any nutrients.
No.
By using the parchment paper.
So we're going to start off with, we're using cauliflower instead of corn. Really, really simple, really easy. And I've got this is orange cauliflower, they're not cheesies. That's what some people think. We're going to put about like one head in here, which should be about 4 cups or whatever fits into your food processor. So we'll break it up. So cauliflower food processor, and we're just gonna pulse it until it forms almost like rice. And if I go too much, it'll get too mushy. That's not what we're looking for. If it spins, you just give it a little shake. Sorry?
Could you use a blender? The problem with a blender, like I have a really powerful blender and I've tried to do stuff like this, but it'll blend for 2 seconds and then stop just because the container is so small. It's such a small surface area. So you can, but it'll take a long time. So you have to keep stopping, give it a stir. I'm not that patient, but all the power to you.
There are some blenders that'll work.
Yeah.
I think bang for your buck, a food processor does more. I use this way more than I use my blender. So now what we're gonna do is make our sort of mock masa or corn masa. So I'm gonna add 2 eggs. You can add whatever fresh herbs you like. I put cilantro on there. Again, I don't want to deal with the cilantro haters today. So we have chives, yeah. There better not be any chive haters. Okay, chives, pretty neutral. That's gonna go in.
Yeah.
Lime zest. Just take either, this is a microplane, so very, very fine blades, or you can use on the big box graters. There's that sort of spiky part that not many people know what to do with. You can zest citrus on there. And again, it's gonna just give it that little spike of lime flavor. So
Zest
fragrant,
is such
really,
an
really nice.
underutilized ingredient, and it's a free ingredient that we often throw away. Just make sure that you rinse and kind of scrub the outside of your fruit well if you're going to use the zest.
Okay, pulse it again just until.
Looking
One
good.
more for good luck. Done. Okay, so it comes together, and I can use a spoon to just sort of make sure everything's
mix
mixed.
it.
But you have this sort of masa. Now, mine is a little bit more on the wet side. What you can do is grab the cauliflower and wring it out in some cheesecloth or in some like a dishcloth, just to take some more of the moisture out of there. And then you build your tamales. Now understand, this is an extra step. This is delicious as is. You can serve that on its own. You can serve it in some like whole wheat pitas.
Get some nice whole grain tortillas,
Yeah.
and it'll be a delicious meal.
This is just to give you an option. So what I've done is cut the parchment paper into about 5x12s and soak them in water just for like a minute. What it does is it makes it super, super malleable. I would not be able to do this with regular parchment paper. It would just sort of curl up on me. So this is really, really easy to work with now. And it doesn't break apart from the wetness. It's pretty strong. So I'm going to put a couple tablespoons of that cauliflower mixture in the middle of one. And then this has been about 12 hours now.
Ooh.
And yeah, this is like,
It's also really, really nice if you have difficulty chewing meat and you find it, for some cancer survivors, it can be really difficult to swallow, especially the leaner cuts. But the slow cooking just makes it really fall apart.
it's so tender.
It just melts in your mouth. It's so tender.
And the sauce from the sauce sort of takes all the spices, all the cocoa powder, and makes this really, really nice sort of rich, thick gravy. And this is no beef stock or anything in here. So that goes right in the middle. And then to fold it, what I do is start with the bottom. It's probably a better technique, but this is my technique. To the middle, up to the top, and then take one side, fold it in, and you want to try to get the cauliflower sort of all the way around it, so it sort of, makes this little blanket, and the shredded beef is nice and cozy in the middle. And then take the other side, push everything to the middle, and just roll it over. And then with that excess, sort of pinch the top, and then wrap it underneath. And then do that about 50 times. No.
Have a tamale rolling party.
That's it. This will make about 12 tamales. You'll probably have a lot left, a lot of the stew left over. So this freezes really well. I can freeze these packages actually just like this. So if I just wanted to make 1 or 2, I'll pop those in the oven. The rest, put them on a baking tray, pop them in the freezer, and then whenever I feel like having one, in the oven, good to go. 375 for about 10-15 minutes. Everything's cooked. It's just the egg in the cauliflower that I want to set a little bit. And this is what they look like. So that cauliflower firms up really, really nicely. But that's the beef kind of, and the peppers and everything in the middle. And then there's your sort of cauliflower tamale.
Yay!